I accidentally sent my naked pic to my rival. Now he wants to sleep with me. It was late. My brain was running on fumes, my body on autopilot. I should have been asleep, but instead I was in bed, phone in hand, caught up in the kind of reckless decision-making that only happens at 2 a.m. Send me something hot. The message from my hookup was still sitting there, waiting. Fine, whatever, I could do that. I snapped the pic, confident, teasing, just enough to get the reaction I wanted. No second thoughts, no hesitation. My thumb hovered over the screen, then hit send. A beat of silence, then another. My phone vibrated. I glanced at the screen, casual, smug, until I saw the name at the top of the chat. Caesar. I froze. My breath caught sharp in my throat. No. I opened the chat, already spiraling. There it was, the picture sent. To him. My stomach dropped so fast I thought I was going to be sick. My body moved before my brain could catch up, hands shaking as I tapped the screen, trying to unsend it, delete it, erase my entire existence if necessary. Then, 3 little dots popped up. He was typing. I swear my vision blurred, every muscle in my body locked up. This was it. This was how I died. The message appeared. Interesting. What the hell? My heart slammed against my ribs. My lungs forgot how to work. The panic was so sharp, so sudden, I thought I might actually pass out. Another message. Didn't know you were so eager to impress me, Atlas. My fingers twitched. My brain short-circuited. There was no way out of this. No escape. I had just given my rival, the guy who had spent years making my life hell, the most dangerous ammunition possible. And worst of all, he liked it. My phone was still in my hand, but I wasn't looking at it anymore. My brain had spiraled into overdrive, dragging me backward through time. I barely thought about him anymore. Barely. Then why, after all these years, did it feel like I was still stuck in his orbit? The classroom was silent except for the scratch of pens against paper and the occasional sniffle from someone who was probably about to fail. Not me. I had prepared for this exam like my life depended on it. Physics was my thing. I had studied until the formulas burned into my brain, until I could practically breathe equations. I was the first one to finish, flipping my test over with a quiet sense of satisfaction. Then, exactly 5 minutes later, Caesar stood up. I felt it before I saw it, that familiar, infuriating presence. I kept my eyes forward as he strolled to the front, turned in his test, and because he couldn't not be a menace, paused just long enough to glance my way. A smirk, the slightest lift of his brow, a silent challenge. I clenched my jaw and refused to react. When the grades came back, I sat at my desk, scanning the sheet, waiting for the hint of victory until I saw it. 98%. I glanced to the side, Caesar leaning back in his chair, holding up his own test. 98%. Our eyes met. I exhaled sharply, looking away. He chuckled under his breath, like he knew exactly how much that pissed me off, because he did. The field was chaos, sweat dripping down my back, my legs burned, my lungs fought for breath, but none of it mattered. Not yet. We were down to the last few minutes, tied score, and I had the ball. I pushed forward, dodging defenders, my body moving on pure instinct. The goal was in sight. I could end it right here. Then I felt it. A shadow in my peripheral, footsteps matching mine. I didn't need to look. I knew. Caesar. He was right there, pacing me, waiting for the perfect moment to steal the ball. I gritted my teeth and pushed harder, sprinting with everything I had. He kept up, always kept up. Every single time I thought I had him beat, he was there, breathing down my neck, shoving himself into my victories like he had a right to them. The goal was inches away. One chance. I feinted left, cutting just as he moved to block. Too late. I shot. The ball soared past the goalie's hands and slammed into the net. The crowd exploded. I stumbled forward, panting, my heart pounding so hard it drowned out everything else. We had won. But when I turned, Caesar was still there, hands on his hips, breathing just as hard, eyes locked onto me like this wasn't over, and I hated that he was right. Graduation day should have felt like a victory, the end of an era. Instead, I was standing stiffly on stage, my diploma clenched in my hands, listening to the principal announce the one thing I hadn't seen coming. Co-valedictorians. The word hit like a slap. Co, as in not just me, as in him too. I turned my head, and there he was, Caesar, standing beside me, holding his own diploma, wearing the same damn cap and gown, like the universe couldn't let me have a single thing to myself. We were called forward, forced to shake hands. His grip was firm, just a little too tight. His smirk was subtle, but the satisfaction in his eyes was unbearable. Guess you just can't outrun me, huh? His voice was low, just for me. I ripped my hand from his and walked off stage. I swore that day I was done with him. And yet, here I was, my phone screen glowing in the dark, my past, my rival, barging back into my life in the worst way imaginable. And no matter how I wanted to believe I'd moved on, I knew deep down I never really had. I hadn't slept. How could I? When my biggest mistake was still sitting in my messages, staring back at me like a ticking time bomb. I kept expecting him to send some kind of insult, some brutal, ego-shattering text that would ruin me. Instead, he had texted something so much worse. Interesting. I had no idea what that meant. I also had no idea why he hadn't said anything else. For an entire day, I walked around waiting for the blow to land, but it never did. No mocking, no mass humiliation, no leaked pictures. Just silence. Until midnight. My phone lit up. Caesar. So. I stared at the message, fingers twitching. What the hell was that supposed to mean? Then another one. Caesar. Is this what all your hookups get? My stomach twisted. I should have ignored him, blocked him, something. Instead, my dumbass responded. None of your business. His reply was almost instant. Oh, but it is. You sent it to me, remember? You made it my business. I swallowed hard. He wasn't wrong. That was quite a picture, Atlas. Can't stop thinking about it. I nearly dropped my phone. Fuck off. Can't. Too busy wondering what else you've got. I locked my phone and threw it across the bed, my whole body burning. This wasn't normal. This wasn't him. And the worst part? It wasn't just taunting. It felt like something else. Something I wasn't ready to name. I was in bed, barely keeping my eyes open when my phone vibrated. I frowned at the screen. Caesar. Awake? I should have just ignored it. I really, really should have. Instead, before I could stop myself, I typed back. Why? The reply came instantly. Answer the call and find out. My pulse kicked up. A warning went off in my brain, one I fully intended to listen to. But then, my phone lit up with an incoming call. I stared at it and answered. Didn't think you'd actually pick up, came his voice, low and amused. I exhaled sharply. Then why'd you call? A pause. Then, I wanted to hear your voice. I went still. His tone was smooth, easy, like this was just some casual conversation, like he hadn't spent years making my life a competition, like he hadn't spent the last few days teasing me over the picture. Cut the shit, Caesar. Relax, he said, the hint of chuckle in his voice. You're always so tense. I clenched my jaw. You're the reason. Another pause. Then, softer, more deliberate. Am I? The way he said it sent heat curling down my spine. This was different. It wasn't just him being a smug asshole. This felt calculated, intentional, like he was waiting for something. I swallowed hard. If this is about blackmail... Blackmail? His voice dipped, like the idea amused him. Atlas, if I wanted to ruin you, I would have done it already. I hated that he wasn't wrong. So why are you really calling? I muttered. A slow inhale. Then, casually, too casually, he asked, What are you wearing? I hung up, and then threw my phone across the bed, my entire body burning. I wasn't playing this game, no matter how badly he wanted to. I wasn't expecting company, especially not him. The knock at my apartment door came late, too late for normal visitors. I hesitated before opening it, because who the hell just shows up like this? Apparently, Caesar fucking Adler. I froze. He leaned against the doorframe, hands in his jacket pockets, looking like he had all the time in the world. Hey, Atlas. I blinked. What are you doing here? He tilted his head. What? No warm welcome? My brain still wasn't catching up. He didn't go here. We weren't in the same city, and yet, here he was, standing at my door like this wasn't completely insane. How the hell did you even find me? He shrugged. I saw your posts on social media. You ordered from that cafe near your place a lot. I just asked the barista if they knew a regular named Atlas. I wanted to punch something, preferably him. You're fucking insane, I muttered, rubbing a hand down my face. Maybe? His lips curved. Gonna let me in? My grip tightened on the door. No. He leaned in slightly, eyes scanning me like he was seeing something new. I suddenly became hyper-aware that I was in sweatpants, that my hair was still damp from the shower, that I wasn't wearing a shirt, and that he knew exactly what that picture had looked like. Shame, he murmured. I was hoping for a proper tour. I exhaled through my nose. Cut the shit. Why are you here? He was quiet for a second. Then, I wanted to see you. My heart stuttered. He must have seen the way I tensed because his smirk deepened. Come on, Atlas, he said, voice dropping just enough to make it dangerous. We both know I'm in your head. I figured I'd return the favor. I should have slammed the door in his face. Instead, I stood there, pulse hammering, caught between the instinct to shut him out and the undeniable urge to let him in. I wasn't expecting to see him again. Not in person, not so soon. Yet, here I was, at a party I didn't even want to be at, staring straight at him. Caesar. He shouldn't have been here. He didn't even go to my college. But then I remembered. His cousin went here. Some rich kid legacy student who threw these over-the-top parties, and apparently Caesar was visiting. Of course he was. Because the universe fucking hated me. I told myself I wouldn't engage, that I'd keep my distance, pretend he wasn't here. But then his gaze locked onto mine from across the room, and that smirk, the one that always made me want to wreck something, curved across his face. He didn't just see me, he was haunting me, and I hated how badly my pulse reacted to that realization. He took his time making his way over, slipping through the crowd with that effortless confidence, like he already knew I wouldn't walk away. Didn't take you for the partying type, he murmured, stepping closer. Didn't take you for a stalker, I shot back. He smirked. You always assumed the worst of me, because I know you. His smirk widened. Not as well as you think. Before I could snap something back, someone slammed a bottle on the table behind us. Truth or dare, they shouted. Caesar turned his head slightly. Then, to my horror, he reached for the bottle, turning it in his hands like he'd just had an idea. Something slow and dangerous crept into his smile as he looked at me. Dare you to kiss me? The words sucked the air out of the room. I froze. What? You heard me. His voice was smooth, effortless, but his eyes were daring me to run. Every single nerve in my body screamed at me to leave, but I didn't. I stood there, heart hammering, pulse spiking, as everyone watched. He leaned in, voice low. You scared, Atlas? I should have said yes. I should have walked away. Instead, I grabbed the collar of his shirt and yanked him in, and then I kissed him. I should have known he'd be here. Caesar was everywhere I didn't want him to be. But when I walked into the gym locker room after my evening workout, the last thing I expected was to find him leaning against the lockers, waiting for me. I stopped dead. He looked up from his phone, and that damn smirk curled across his lips. Took you long enough? I tightened my grip on my bag. What the hell are you doing here? He shrugged, like showing up unannounced wasn't insane. Came to check out the facilities. Bullshit. He didn't go to this college. He didn't even live in this city. You tracked me down just to be an asshole? I scoffed, moving toward my locker. But before I could open it, He was suddenly there, too close, cutting off my space like he had every right. His voice dropped, smooth as silk. "I think you know why I'm here." I turned, glaring up at him. "Do I?" His gaze flicked over me, slow, deliberate. A fucking touch without touching. I hated that it made my breath catch. "Come on, Atlas." His voice was a low murmur now. "Don't act like you haven't been waiting for me to show up." I laughed. "You really think I sit around hoping for that?" "I think." He leaned in, just enough for me to catch the scent of his cologne, to feel the warmth radiating off him. "You haven't stopped thinking about me since that party." My stomach twisted, because I hadn't. Not since that dare, not since that kiss. Not since he looked at me like he wanted to ruin me. And now, here we were, alone. His body practically caging me against the lockers, the air between us crackling. "You're in my way," I said, voice flat. He didn't move. Instead, his fingers brushed my waist, soft, barely there, but I felt it everywhere. I swallowed hard, and I knew, if I didn't leave right now, I wasn't going to stop him. So I turned, shoving past him, forcing myself not to look back. But, as I walked out, his voice followed, teasing, smug. "See you soon, Atlas." Fuck. I wasn't answering his texts. I wasn't answering his calls. I was done. Done playing his game. Done feeling whatever the hell this was. Then, I opened my apartment door, and he was there. My breath hitched. "Caesar? Enough," he cut in, stepping inside before I could stop him. I backed up. "How the hell did you... You blocked me." His voice was rough. "So, I did what any sane person would do and drove here." I blinked. "You what?" "You heard me." I stared at him. He looked different, tense, wrecked. "You're out of your goddamn mind," I muttered. "Yeah?" He took another step closer. "Then tell me to leave." I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. His jaw tightened. "Tell me to fucking leave, Atlas." Silence. Then, softer, "Tell me you don't want this." I should have. I wanted to, but I couldn't, because I did want this, and he knew it. His fingers curled around my waist, and then he kissed me. It wasn't careful, it wasn't slow, it was everything. Years of rivalry, years of tension, years of pretending this was anything but inevitable. I kissed him back, and this time, I didn't run. I wasn't going to let him win. Not this time. After everything, the picture, the party, the locker room, the kiss, I knew exactly what Caesar was doing. He was pushing, testing, baiting me into playing his game. So, I set the rules. One text, that was all it took. Whatever the hell this is, it stops now. I expected an argument, a fight, some snarky comment, but all he sent back was, "No, it doesn't." I gritted my teeth. "You don't get to decide that." 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then meet me. One last time. I'll let you walk away after that. It was stupid. So fucking stupid. But I agreed. One last time, just to end it. The rooftop was quiet, the city lights stretching far beyond us, but all I could hear was the pounding in my chest. Caesar stood by the railing, his usual mask of smug confidence firmly in place, like none of this was a big deal, like he hadn't spent the last few weeks hunting me down, pushing every button I had. I folded my arms. "You said one last time, so say whatever the hell you came to say." His jaw tensed. For once, he didn't have a comeback ready. Then, his voice, quieter than I expected. "Why do you fight me on everything?" I laughed, sharp and bitter. "Oh, I don't know, maybe because you made my life hell for years?" His eyes flashed. "You gave it back just as hard. You started it. You never had to finish it," he shot back. The words hit something deep, something ugly. I clenched my fists. "I didn't ask for you to be in my face at every turn. I didn't ask for a rival who had to one-up me in everything." "That's what you think this is?" His voice rose, a thread of something real creeping in. "You think I just wanted to beat you?" I scoffed. "That's all you ever wanted." "No, Atlas." He took a step closer, voice tight. "That's all you ever saw?" I swallowed hard. He shook his head, laughing under his breath, but it wasn't amused. I spent years chasing you, trying to keep up with you, and you still don't get it. I frowned. Get what? He exhaled sharply, hands dragging through his hair before finally looking me dead in the eye. That I was never fighting against you, he said, voice raw. I was fighting for you. Your attention. The world tilted. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. He let out a breath, shaking his head. God, you were the only thing that ever mattered to me back then, and I didn't even know how to deal with it, so yeah, I fought you, because at least if I was fighting you, I still had you. My chest was too tight. This wasn't how tonight was supposed to go. I was supposed to shut this down, not have him crack me open. But suddenly, it wasn't just anger I was feeling anymore, it was everything. The years of tension, of never knowing why he pushed so hard, the late nights spent thinking about him when I shouldn't have been, the way he always looked at me like I was the only thing in the room, the way he was looking at me right now. My voice broke, and then he was there, close enough that I could see the flecks of gold in his olive green eyes and feel the heat of his body. He reached out, hesitant this time. I could have stopped him. I should have, but I didn't. His fingers brushed my jaw, tilting my face up. I'm still fighting for you, he murmured, and then his lips crashed into mine. It wasn't soft, it wasn't careful, it was years of everything. Frustration, longing, every unsaid word between us, all colliding in a kiss that stole the breath from my lungs. I pushed him back against the railing, biting at his lip, punishing him for every stupid feeling he made me feel. He groaned against my mouth, dragging me closer, hands gripping my waist like he was terrified I'd pull away, but I didn't. I couldn't. It should have ended that night, but it didn't. It turned into something else, something worse. One moment, we were at each other's throats. The next, we were in a dark corner, hands under each other's shirts. It wasn't dating, it wasn't love, it was a contest, one neither of us wanted to lose, and it was dangerous. It was showing up at each other's doors late at night, shoving each other against walls, getting drunk off heat and adrenaline. It was me telling myself this doesn't mean anything. It was him never letting me believe it. One night, I pushed him back, breathless, voice raw. This isn't real, I said. Caesar smirked, lazy and dangerous. Then stop. I didn't. I couldn't. Because somehow, he was already under my skin. And the worst part? I think he always had been. For a guy who once made my life hell, Caesar had a way of making me feel stupidly happy. It started with little things. Texts that had nothing to do with sex, late-night calls just to talk, dumb arguments over movies that neither of us actually cared about. It was easy, and I never expected easy with him. Somewhere along the way, the sneaking around stopped feeling like a secret and started feeling like ours, like the way he'd show up outside my apartment at midnight just because he wanted to see me, the way he stole my hoodies and wore them on video calls, not even trying to hide it, the way he'd grab my waist in a crowd, thumb brushing my pulse, grounding me in a way I didn't know I needed. I wasn't sure when it happened, when the rival I once hated became the person I reached for most. But it had, and I was happy. I should have known better, because happiness never lasted long between us. It wasn't like I was trying to eavesdrop. I had gone to Caesar's campus to surprise him, because that was a thing I did now, because I liked showing up and seeing his eyes light up, liked watching his face soften in ways I was pretty sure no one else got to see. But then I heard my name, and I froze. The door to the lounge was cracked open, just enough for voices to slip through. He's obsessed with me, man. Caesar's voice low and careless. Always has been. I felt it like a punch to the ribs. Someone laughed. No shit, the competition must be insane in bed. Caesar chuckled. It's not serious, we just mess around. My mouth went dry. Another voice chimed in. So, you finally beat him, huh? A pause. Then Caesar's voice again, light and sharp as a blade. Guess now he's trying to win in bed, too. Something inside me snapped. I turned and walked away. I didn't wait for more, didn't want to hear another word, because I got it. I finally got it. This wasn't real. It never had been real. I didn't answer his texts, didn't pick up when he called, I just shut down. Because if I let myself feel any of it, I might actually fucking break. But then he showed up, right at my door, looking confused and frustrated and too damn good in his leather jacket. Atlas? What the fuck? His brows pulled together. Why are you ignoring me? I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. Seriously? His jaw tightened. Yeah, seriously, what's your deal? I snapped. My deal? I shoved him back, the anger pouring out. You're my fucking deal. Because for some goddamn reason I let myself believe you actually cared. But I was just another game to you, wasn't I? His eyes flashed. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, I don't know. My voice dripped venom. Maybe how it's not serious, how we just mess around, how I'm so obsessed with you, right? His face went white. I let out a hollow laugh. Yeah, I heard you. Atlas, just admit it. I cut him off, voice shaking. This was about winning, about beating me one last time. His mouth opened, then closed. And that was all I needed. I exhaled, something breaking apart inside me. That's what I thought. Then I shut the door in his face. It took 2 weeks. 2 weeks of silence. 2 weeks of pretending I didn't care, of turning my phone face down every time it buzzed, of deleting unread texts, skipping songs that reminded me of him, rerouting my entire walk home just to avoid the places I knew he might be. And yet, he still didn't stop. It started with the texts. Pick up the damn phone. Atlas, please. At least let me explain. I ignored them all. Then came the calls. So many fucking calls. His name would light up my screen at random times. Mid-morning, 3 a.m., in the middle of my classes. Once, I actually picked up by accident, and the second I heard his voice, Atlas, I hung up so fast my fingers shook. Then he started showing up. One night, I found him waiting outside my dorm. He didn't say anything, didn't call my name, he just stood there, hands in his pockets. Eyes heavy with something raw and unspoken. I walked right past him. He didn't follow. I told myself I was done. That I'd never let him make a fool of me again. That I was fine. But when my phone buzzed that night, and I saw his name again, I didn't delete it this time. And when I opened it, I felt something crack. Caesar. I never wanted to win. I stared at it for a long time. Then another text came. I was an idiot, but not about you. And another. I need to explain, please. I should have ignored it, but I didn't. Because no matter how much I wanted to hate him, no matter how much it hurt, a part of me needed to know. So, I showed up. He was already waiting outside his apartment, arms crossed, jaw tight, but his eyes looked wrecked. I crossed my arms. Talk. He dragged a hand down his face. I fucked up. No shit. He let out a rough breath. I didn't mean what I said. I scoffed. Oh, so you just accidentally let your friends think I was some pathetic, obsessed hookup? His expression darkened. That's not what He cut himself off, exhaling hard. I was trying to shut them up, Atlas. They wouldn't stop asking. And I panicked. I let out a sharp laugh. You panicked? And that's what came out? I shook my head, anger curling in my chest. You could have said anything else, Caesar. You could have just told the truth, but you didn't, because it was easier to pretend. His jaw clenched. He stopped himself, looking away. For a long moment, he just stood there, breathing heavily like he was about to say something he didn't know how to put into words. Then, finally, it's a habit. His voice was hoarse, raw. Lying like that, hiding what I feel. I've spent so long pretending that none of this means anything. That you meant nothing. That we're nothing more than rivals. His eyes flicked up to mine, desperate and unsteady. But that's not the truth. It was never the truth. You were never just some game to me. I stayed quiet, throat tight. He swallowed hard. You've been my rival since forever, right? He let out a small, humorless laugh. The one person who could keep up. The only one who ever saw me for what I was, and still looked at me like that. His voice dropped lower, rougher. And maybe I spent too long pretending to hate that, pretending to hate you when I never did. My breath caught, but I forced myself to keep my arms crossed, to not let him see how much that admission shook me. Caesar ran a hand through his hair, looking wrecked. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just need you to know I don't want to pretend anymore. His throat bobbed. I mean it. I was never fighting against you. All this time I was fighting for you. Something cracked open in my chest. I wanted to believe him, and maybe I always had. I swallowed hard. Then, what do you want? He stepped closer. You, he murmured. No more games, just you. And then he pulled something out of his pocket. A small silver ring. I blinked at it. What? I know this is too soon. I know we're young, I know we're stupid, and I know I've been a fucking disaster from the start, he said, voice rough. But I also know that when I wake up, I want you next to me. When I hear good news, you're the first person I want to tell. When I walk into a room, I look for you first. Every time. My throat tightened. He exhaled sharply. This isn't some proposal. It's not a bribe. It's just a promise. His grip on the ring tightened. A promise that I won't run. That I won't pretend this isn't real. That if you let me, I'll fight for us. Every time. I was quiet for a long time. Because, fuck. What was I supposed to say to that? I swallowed past the lump in my throat. You don't have to fight for me. His expression faltered, and then I reached for his hand, curling my fingers over his. Because I'm already yours, but you need to make up for your mistake. His breath hitched, but he nodded. And then, with something dangerously close to relief, he slid the ring onto my finger, and kissed me like he meant it, like he always had, like he always would. I wake up to warmth. Not just the kind from the sunlight pouring through our bedroom window, but him. Caesar is wrapped around me, face buried in my neck, one arm slung low across my waist like he's afraid I'll slip away in the middle of the night. As if I ever could. His breath is slow, steady, tickling against my skin, and I smile before I even open my eyes. He grumbles, shifting just enough to tighten his hold. Go back to sleep. I huff a laugh. It's morning. Don't care. He nuzzles closer, voice thick with sleep. Not moving. I roll onto my side to face him, and he blinks his olive green eyes open, sleep-heavy and lazy, like the morning barely exists. His hair is a mess, blonde strands sticking up at odd angles, and I resist the urge to smooth them down. You have work, I remind him, dragging my fingers along his bare shoulder. So do you, he counters, lips quirking. I shrug. I'm fine being late. His smile widens. Look at you, being all reckless. I smirk. I live with you. It was bound to rub off. He hums in amusement, shifting onto his elbow to lean over me, his fingers tracing the edge of my jaw. I know that look. Soft, possessive, devoted. The same way he's been looking at me for the past 2 years, like I'm something his. I let my eyes drift to his hand, to the silver band on his ring finger, the matching one on mine. We never did the whole grand proposal thing, never needed to. One night, we just knew. Knew whatever this was, it was forever. He follows my gaze, thumb brushing over my ring. Regretting it yet? I snort. Not even for a second. His smirk softens, and then he kisses me. Slow, lingering, filled with so much love I feel it in my bones. When he pulls back, his forehead rests against mine. Good, he murmurs, because you're stuck with me. I grin. Wouldn't have it any other way. And when he kisses me again, I know. We made it. Standing here, in front of everyone, in front of him, I can't believe how far we've come. Caesar stands across from me, looking at me like I'm the only thing in the world. His fingers are warm in mine, steady, unshaking. The same hands that once shoved me during a race, flipped me off during exams, pushed me to be better. Now, they're holding me like I'm something precious. What started as a rivalry turned into something I never saw coming. And now, he's everything. My best friend, my greatest love, my future. As I promise him forever, I know one thing for sure. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together, because I'll always fight for him, and he'll always fight for me. Have you ever had a rival? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.